Yeah.
You can start.
Are you going to introduce, or how is it?
Yes, introduce yourself and about IIU. Look at this, and then your presentation.
Okay. I have the access to share screen. Yeah. Okay. Hi, this is Madhu here. I am talking to you all from the heart of Silicon Valley. It's 5 a.m. here in California. Wherever you are, whichever location you are, greetings and welcome you to this session. So I am the founder of Sukambhava. It's a training and development company. It's all about simplifying spirituality. This is my calling to serve and to influence and to inspire people to be their fullest, best, to be their greatest versions. So I thank IIU and Piyush ji for honoring me, for inviting me here to do this talk on emotional intelligence. So this topic is very favorite to me. It's very close to my heart because I didn't have the emotional intelligence that I have today. And knowing and learning all about emotions and the science and the spirituality behind it has made me a stronger and a better person. And I would want to extend that to all of you here. So thank you, all of you, for joining. So let me go ahead and share the presentation. So the topic is, like I said, emotional intelligence. When I say that, I am emphasizing on emotions. As I walk you through the slides, you'll know why I'm saying emotions, right? So I've made the presentation in a way where first I talk about the science part of it, and then I talk about the spirituality part of it, right? So by the end of the session, you're going to get a beautiful takeaway connecting both science and spirituality. So this is going to bridge and clarify a lot of your emotional quest, right? So let's go ahead into the science of emotions. When I say science, I'm going to bring in a lot of studies from psychology, the scientific study of mind, and the work of Dr. Dan Siegel from UCLA. So let's go into the neuroscience part of it. So emotions. Before we go into that, I'm going to talk to you a little about brain, right? So we all have a brain, right? It's the size of a fist like that, right? So there's this theory called the Triune brain theory, where we classify brain into the reptilian or the lizard brain, mammalian brain, and the human brain. The reptilian brain is activated when life is on autopilot. You know, it's just happening automatically, involuntarily, right? It takes care of that part of our life. And the mammalian brain, it's also called the limbic brain, right? It processes emotions and memories for us, right? And the human brain, the cortex, it takes care of, the rational things, the decisions, the strategies that we have, that we make in life. It's like the CEO of the brain. It's the thinking brain, where we make logical, analytical decisions, where we stay calm, composed. Everything is dictated by the cortex part of the brain, which is the CEO of the brain, right? So that is the triune theory, where every part of this brain takes care of one activity, one functionality. I mean, I shouldn't say one, maybe more, right? So the next slide. So when I explain this triune brain, I want you all to note that these parts of brain can be equated to animals. I'm giving these examples because, we all, have a child in us and we'd like to learn like children, right? So we'll go to the hand model and then I'll map these two things. So this is hand model of brain, which was explained and demonstrated by Dr. Dan Siegel. So to do that, I would ask you all to raise your hands like that, any of your hand, left or right. I'm going to do it with my right. So I want you all to put the thumb inside and then close it with the fingers on the top. All right. So now I'm going to explain the hand model of brain. You will understand the triune brain when I show you with my fingers, right? So this part of the brain is called the thinking brain, right? This is the thinking brain. This is the limbic brain. Okay, this is the limbic brain, and this is the brain stem, right? So reptilian brain, mammalian brain, and human brain. This is thinking. This is emotions, and this is brainstem. All right. So this is what we have right now. Right. So there are many parts of the brain. Right now, we're focusing on one specific part because it's relating to emotions. Now, the mammalian or the limbic brain is responsible for processing emotions. Right. So now, I said the thumb goes inside and this comes on the top, right? So the thumb actually represents a part of brain which is called the amygdala. The amygdala processes the emotions and the triggers that comes from the external. So the amygdala is inside and then the thinking brain closes it. So now let's say, for example, we are receiving a trigger, an emotional trigger. When do you get an emotional trigger? When you are stressed, when you are afraid, when you're in fear, and when you have things that are shocking you, that are dangerous to you, that which makes you feel like you are being threatened, that is when the amygdala gets activated. So as we receive the signals through the brainstem, you can imagine this part, the wrist as the brainstem. As you receive that, this goes into the amygdala, and the amygdala is threatened. There is fear, and we have this fear because we need this to survive, right? So naturally, human beings are born with two types of fear. One, the fear of sounds, extremely loud sounds, and the fear of falling, right? The rest of the fear that we have, that we experience, they're all learned. These are the two fears which are always with us. Now, these kind of external fears will trigger the limbic brain, right? So now to teach this the children's way, yeah? So now I want you to think of this part of the hand, which I'm mapping with the thinking brain as a wise owl. This is the prefrontal cortex. This is the wise owl. And this is the guard dog. It's the watchdog, right? So signals are coming from here. Hippocampus is also a part of that brain, right? So now signals are coming from here, all right? And you are in fear. You feel that there is danger. When that happens to you, the guard dog starts barking, the amygdala. So the amygdala is a name derived from Latin or Greek. It means almond. So this part of the brain is in the shape of a almond. So this part, the amygdala, it's triggered. What happens when it's triggered is it activates fear, flight, and fright. And what does that do? It actually activates stress hormones. Stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline, are pumped. into the body. Now, these two are released into the body, which is causing stress. And when stress is caused, what happens? I'm not able to interact with you all, so I'm going to just go ahead. So when there is stress, what happens? Sweaty palms, maybe palpitations, breathing gets shallower, no more deep breathing, and you just are being reactive, right? That's what happens when we go into fear, when the stress hormones are released into the body, cortisol and adrenaline, which actually activates the sympathetic nervous system. All right. So there is stress, there is fear of survival. We need this because we need to protect us, right? So all this is happening in the brain when something triggers you emotionally, right? So now when the amygdala, when the guard dog, which is the guard dog, senses this from outside, which is coming through the spinal cord, the brain stem, it starts barking because now you have to save yourself, to go to survive, to find a protective place, right? So it starts barking. The dog starts barking. When the dog starts barking, the thinking brain, which is the owl, it starts flying out. It's just a way of explaining, right? So the thinking brain is now disabled. The thinking brain works only when it's here, but when you flip it, it gets disabled. So now the amygdala is in charge, right? And the thinking brain is no more working. The thinking brain, like I said, is the neocortex. It's the CEO of the brain, which makes strategic decisions, analytical, logical, wise decisions. Now the wiseness is disabled. The owl flew and the dog is barking because it's very, very difficult and it's uncontrollable. There is no regulation. There is no thinking brain to calm the amygdala or the guard dog, right? So as of now, I want you all to just remember this, and I'm going to show you a pictorial representation of what I showed you with my hand. So this is the hand model of brain. Like I said, the neocortex on the top, and then the limbic brain. The amygdala is a part of the limbic brain, and then the survival brain, which is the whole limbic brain, and then from here is the brainstem. So this is just a pictorial representation of what I just explained. Yeah. So the barking dog, when it's out, the owl flies, and you're not being emotionally regulated. So when the amygdala, the dog, is out, the owl is not available anymore, it's disabled and it's barking. You can even think of it as whoa, 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 it's going on, right? This emotional stress, emotional dysregulation, imbalance, and distress is happening. You're not able to calm yourself. This condition is called amygdala hijack or limbic hijack. What happens is now it's the amygdala hijack actually causes the thinking brain to stop, right? And the stress hormones are released. All the things that are causing you to be in imbalance, to be in a very conflicting mode, is now on release. You are not able to think straight, no upright thinking, just you there and you being distressed, right? So all these things caused by hijack. What happens when a flight is hijacked, right? What happens? Are you able to think straight? Are you in fear? Are you not scared? Are you able to do things you would be able to do when somebody has you at gunpoint? No, you can't, right? You don't know what to do. You then calm yourself down. Now that you know that you're being hijacked, you know that you want to calm yourself down. So you calm yourself, and then the thinking brain will come into picture, and the amygdala goes back inside and stops barking. The wise owl now takes over. So it's the same thing that's happening with the brain. When the amygdala hijacking happens, you're not able to think straight, think properly, you're not calm, you're very agitated, you're very aggressed, right? It's the same thing that happens when a flight would get hijacked. You cannot do things normally, but after a period of time, you understand that you want to come back and be in that calm and composed state, right? So that's what is happening in the brain, like regular, hijack, like a flight being hijacked, or like a huge ship being hijacked, right? So that's about the science of emotions. And all these emotions that we experience, right? There are several emotions we all experience. Some are good, some we label them as not good, right? So all these things are processed here in the limbic brain, right? All the emotions, they come from here. I just want you all to remember this, that the palm of your hand and then the, this thumb is responsible for processing your emotions. This is the neuroscience part of it. However, we can stop this hijack, right? And I'll tell you how to do that. So let's go to the spirituality of emotions. So ancient yogis were neuroscientists, and they mapped every emotion with a breath pattern. So when you're happy, your breath is in a certain way. And when you're scared, when you're in fear, when you're anxious, the breath is in a certain way. So when you're angry, mostly it's like that, right? You're breathing faster. The breathing is very shallow. When you're angry, when you're frustrated, when you're agitated, when you're in fear, the breathing is, it's so superficial. It's very shallow. So they mapped every emotion to a certain breath pattern. They worked on our nervous system. These yogis, they worked on our nervous system, and they gave us breath patterns, and they taught us how to come back to calm, composed, full abdominal deep breathing. All right. So this is from the yogic sciences, right? So, like I said, the emotions, you can classify them in many different ways. I like to do it as serving emotions and non-serving emotions. So you can also call it lower or higher emotions, right? So low emotions, shallow breathing; higher emotions, deep, full breathing. You're filling up your belly with air, and then you feel that calm, right? Because you're taking in fresh prana inside your body. Right. So now I said at the very beginning, I said, I will explain why I call the emotions as emotions, right? The E in the emotions, it stands for energy. The E stands for energy and motions. So now what is emotion? What are emotions? Energy in motion, right? Energy in motion. Me being an energy healer, we see everything as energy. Everything is energy. Great scientist Nikola Tesla once said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, vibration, and frequency. For example, I am energy. My friend here, she's an energy. And this IIU University is an energy. Everything that we see is energy. Everything around us is energy. I am energy. Right now, I'm talking to you, and you are observing and noting down things. That is an energy transfer. From a knowledge transfer is also an energy transfer, right? So now the emotions are nothing but energy in motion. Because they are supposed to be in motion, when they get stuck, when they get stagnant, it causes emotional energy blockages, which in turn causes diseases, discomforts in the physical body, right? So you have to remember that emotions, they gotta move, they gotta keep going, go, 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 right? Flow, flow, flow. You can think of these words when you decode emotions for yourself. Right now, you're sitting with me, somebody's there to tell you. Later on, when you go and ponder about it, I want you all to understand that emotions are energy in motion, and they got to keep moving, right? Whether it's happiness, whether it is sadness, whether it is anxiety, grief, gratitude, none of these emotions, none of these things that you feel are permanent. They have to keep moving, right? And we can move it because we are so powerful as humans. We are so powerful. We can do things to our own body to regulate ourselves, right? So we'll see how to move the energy. I'll take a sip of water. According to yogic sciences, we are not just this body, right? We are able to see this body, but we are not just this body. We are more than that. We are above and beyond this physical body that we see, right? We say that we are the spirit that animates the body, right? We are the soul that animates the body. And when we have this understanding that it's me who's talking through my body, it's me who's moving my hands, it's me who showed you and demonstrated the hand model, it's me who's using my voice to speak out loud, right? So this me is the spirit that is animating this physical body. So here I affirm and say that I'm not the body, I'm not the thoughts, or I'm not the emotions, right? So when you do this, whatever emotion that you're going through, you're saying that you're not that, all right? Let's say you're sad. You can just get yourself back to equilibrium, to a balanced state by just saying that I'm not this emotion, right? My mind creates this emotion, these thoughts. And if I have the ability to create these thoughts and these emotions, I also have the ability to not create these emotions or the thoughts, or even uncreate, right? Or overwrite, right? So I'm not the body, I'm not the thoughts, I'm not the emotions. I'm more than that, and I can control my thoughts and my emotions. All the neuroscientists, they say that if you can change your thinking, if you can change your beliefs, you can change the structure of the brain, which is neuroplasticity, right? Coming back to neuroscience again, this and that are same. The science and spirituality, they're all saying the same things. It's actually one and the same, right? So now when let's say that you're going through a very sad period of time, you're very sad, you're very upset, you're not able to do things. What do? You don't keep saying, I'm sad, I'm sad, I'm sad. You replace those words and you reframe and you disidentify and disassociate with the emotions that you're experiencing. This stops you. It stops you from experiencing that emotion, right? And this also helps you in understanding the impermanence of emotions. Nobody is always happy or nobody is always sad. We all go through cycles of emotions. That's the cycle of life. Nobody is fully happy or nobody is fully unhappy or experience grief or anxiety or any kind of stress, right? We all have good time too. So this acceptance is mindfulness. The acceptance and acknowledging that these emotions are not going to be with us permanently and that they're going to go away will give you lots and lots and lots of peace, right? So that's about disassociating the emotions with the body and your thoughts and everything that you're experiencing. It's just you being pure light, right? Go to the next slide. So if we want to heal and if we want to get better and not be agitated, aggressed, or be in a very confused state, right? We have to do something which is very important. These slides that I'm going to show are like so close to my heart. I love it. And I keep repeating it in all my sessions. So feel to heal. If you don't know how to feel, you cannot heal. If you do not feel it emotionally, if you do not feel the trauma, the stress, the difficult period, the suffering and the pain, then you cannot heal it because you don't even know it. If you do not have the acceptance and the acknowledgement of the pain and the suffering, you cannot heal that, right? So I want you all to first understand that as humans, we are here on earth to, experience the wide range of emotions. We have all these beautiful emotions. We are here to experience them, right? And it's part of being human, right? It's being human. It's not about doing human, it's being human, which is why we are called human being, right? You cannot do all these things in a day like that. You take time and you progress slowly, right? So I want you all to understand and know that every emotion is valid. Every emotion has a utility to it. Every emotion is useful. Every emotion has a charge to it. You can call it a positive and a negative charge, right? What are the positive emotions? Joy. You feel gratitude, compassion. When you give something to people, when you're generous, you feel that joy. All that is positive. Aggression, anxiety, anything which is not making you feel good, all that will go into the negative, which is not serving, which you don't want, right? But it's there for a reason. We have these emotions, fear, grief, stress, anxiety, whatever. We have these for a reason. We don't want to neglect or ignore them. We need them. We need them to experience our life here, right? So the first thing that I want you all to do is to give yourself the permission, fully permit yourself to feel the emotions, acknowledge them, and experience it. We are here to feel. If we do not feel, we do not heal. If you only want to feel the happy, positive emotions, and you don't want to feel the negatives, you don't want to feel the non-serving ones, then you're stopping yourself from being human. You don't want to do that. You don't want to get there. You want to let yourself feel. And when you feel, you become ready and you prep yourself to heal, right? It's a preparatory stage for your healing. Feeling is healing. Feel to heal. Please remember this, right? So let's go to the next slide. Now, in the feel to heal, I want to stress certain things to you all. So these words that you see on the screen, they're going to be highly helpful, right? What shouldn't you do when you're trying to feel? You do not want to label an emotion negative and say no to it, right? That's what I said in the previous slide. Now, you do not want to repress or suppress your emotions. You don't want to be reactive, react immediately when people say things, when people humiliate you, or you're feeling guilt, or you're feeling shame, or any of these emotions, because you don't like them, right? You only like the joy and the gratitude and the compassion. You don't want them, so you just what we do as humans, this is a coping mechanism. In psychology, we call it the coping mechanism. As humans, we always want to protect us. It's all about survival for us, right? And what do we do when we face these kind of emotions? We just repress or suppress them. So with suppress, when you suppress an emotion, you do it consciously. But when you repress an emotion, you do it unconsciously. So remember this very carefully. Repression and suppression of emotions are not the one and the same. There's a subtle difference here. Suppression is doing it consciously. Repression is doing it unconsciously. Right? Let me give you an example. We moved to this house more than a year back, and I was driving to a grocery store, and while returning, I felt so lonely. I felt like everything, the streets were new, it wasn't familiar, everything was new, and I was like, I started crying, tears started flowing, and I was like, things are happening in my stomach, my gut is like, I'm feeling pain, and I'm like, should we go back to the place where we came from? That's my comfort zone. Should I go back there? And then this part of me, which, is trained in mindfulness and meditation and, balance, said, okay, let's sit with it. And then other side of me said, Madhu, just get home, put all the grocery from the trunk in the pantry, go on the Netflix, right? And then watch something and distract yourself. But I gave my attention to the other side of signals. I said, I'm going to sit through these emotions that I'm feeling. And I sat with it. And then I told myself that it's okay to feel pain, the pain of moving, not living close to friends, the new place, strange, not so familiar locality. It's okay to live with that. It's okay. It's okay to feel that. Do not on the Netflix or TV, or do not eat something. Don't do any kind of emotional eating, or just, do something to distract yourself from that pain. Feel through it. Feel to heal it. I said that to myself, which is why I say, you guys, your self-talk, your internal dialogue is very important here. If you want to heal, you should know how to talk to yourself. I told that to myself, and I sat through, I cried, and I didn't suppress. I was going to suppress my emotions of grief, of the pain of moving consciously by just distracting with Netflix and eating some chips or something. I didn't do it because I'm trained in that, right? If we train ourselves, we wouldn't suppress. Let's go to repress. All right, again, example from my life. I have 2 children. When I went back to work after having my first child, I had to stop breastfeeding. I had to go to work, leave my child. I felt guilty. I felt an experience, mom's guilt. I felt that I'm not enough. I'm not taking good care of my child. I went back to work. And then people around me, some were supportive and some said, this is from the external, oh, you're not a good mother. You stopped breastfeeding. Why did you do that? That's shaming. There was no support from some people. There was support from some people. So this guilt and shame was there. And back in the days, I was not trained. I was not trained about my emotions. I didn't want to address it because it made me feel very inconvenient. It was uneasy for me to address these. I said, I did something. It was my coping mechanism, the unaware, the old version of me, old version of Madhu didn't know what to do. She just repressed the guilt and the shame that came by leaving the child at home and going to work. All right. All the mothers, most women I speak to, they say that, they have this. I feel guilty when I go to work and I don't address it. Because I just repress it, because it's very inconvenient. I don't want to cry. I don't want to heal it. I'm scared. I don't know what people will think, right? That's repression. I hope suppression and repression are clear, my life examples, right? Now we are in a place where we know that we do not want to repress or suppress. Why? If we do not take care of our emotions and we just want to be positive all the time, it's not really being positive. It's not a genuine positive life. It's just being toxic positive, right? Toxic positivity happens when somebody tells you, or you tell yourself, your internal dialogue tells you that you have to be positive. You got to be positive all the time. So if you're in pain, if I'm in labor pain, I'm pushing out a baby, do you think I should be positive and not feel the pain? And just, of course, there's joy after the pain. Don't you want to feel the pain? You want to feel the pain, right? You have to feel the pain. The pain is there for a reason, because after some time, you're just going to see a bundle of joy. So don't shut out and override your emotions. Let it be as it is. Start looking at your emotions as they are, as it is, right? As is. Do not stop masking. Stop masking. Stop overriding. Just let them be. Let them be as they are. There's guilt, there's shame, there's grief, there's pain, there's suffering. Let them be. Do not label them as good or bad. They're just there for a reason, right? No labeling, no repression, no suppression, and no reacting, right? I'm guilty. I don't need to react and scratch myself or hurt myself, self-harm or eat or binge watch or do something, right? So I want you all to understand that you cannot be positive all the time, right? So we also call the toxic positivity as spiritual bypassing. You're not letting your spirit that animates you to experience these wide range of emotions that make you a human. You are stopping yourself from living a full potential life, a full spectrum life, if you don't feel the feelings, if you don't feel the emotions, right? So from now on, my humble request for you all is to feel, to heal. No repression, no suppression, no reactions, no toxic positivity, no bypassing. Feel everything as they are, right? Take a sip of water. And now you have the green tick mark that tells you, what should I do then with these emotions? Address them. What did I do? The guilt, I addressed it, right? And I said, yeah, the guilt is there for a reason. I'm going to work through, right? I'm going to express it to somebody that I feel is safe, a non-judgmental person. And I'm express that, hey, I feel this guilt when I go to work. I feel shameful of going to work. How can I address and express and process these emotions and then resolve it and then release myself of these emotions? If I do not release these emotions, they create blockages in my system. All right, the energy doesn't move because these emotions are supposed to move. The guilt shouldn't stay here in my body. So certain emotions stay at certain places in the body. So if you do not move them, they stay in your body, they're stuck, they're stagnant, like stagnant water. They don't move, they're immobile, and they cause diseases because the energy is not moving, because these emotions are energy. You have to move the energy. You got to move it. Flow, flow, flow. Please keep telling yourself flow, 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 and move, move, move. Keep moving, right? So when you do this, when you address and express your emotions, when you are feeling so you can heal, you're becoming proactive. And you will start responding in place of reacting. You'll take a minute. There is a pause that we need to practice, right? Between your stimuli and your response, there is a pause. You take that pause. Always take that pause and then say what you want to say. Do not speak when you're angry, right? Do not speak, make promises when you're angry. Take that pause and then respond carefully, mindfully, right? So now, in the previous slide, I showed you toxic positivity. There is an antidote, a medicine to toxic positivity, which is tragic optimism. Tragic optimism lets you accept the emotions as they are and know that this is there, yet I'm going to find hope. Hope is always there for me to heal, right? So tragic optimism is significant, is important, is something we all need in life, in any walks of life, not just emotions, anything else, right? We need this. Let's move on to the next slide. So I want you all to understand that all emotions are welcome. Yes, don't say that you don't want this or you don't want that. All are welcome. What are the solutions? What am I going to do? What am I going to do when I'm angry? What am I going to do when the amygdala hijacking happens? When the dog starts barking and the owl flies and it's barking. The owl is a wise one. The wise one is not there anymore to control your amygdala or, to keep it in place. Now the amygdala is taken over. Your emotions are taking you over. You're barking, whoa, whoa, whoa. And how do you go? How do you stop? How do you get back your owl to close the amygdala and come back to the normal position, the regular position, the calm, composed state of brain, right? How do you do that? We have some solutions. So what happens when this goes out is your sympathetic nervous system. I want you to remember this sympathetic nervous system stands for stress, S for S, parasympathetic nervous system for peace. So you want to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is calming and cooling you down. Now, the set of exercises that I'm going to teach you are going to activate the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the 10th cranial nerve that takes care of calming and cooling down the body and bringing you to composure, right? So the first, I have several solutions for you here. The first solution that I would like to share with you is boxed breathing. This was demonstrated by Brené Brown. So in this breathing, I would like to ask you all to do this along with me. You see the box, right? So it's called box breathing, super simple and easy. It's also called Navy SEAL breathing. The Navy, they do it, right? So for 4 seconds, you inhale and then you hold for 4 seconds. Then you exhale for 4 seconds, then hold for 4 seconds again, right? So when you inhale, let's practice this together. So I will guide you. I'm going to say inhale, and then you will inhale for 4 seconds. So let's start the boxed breathing. And when you're doing this, I would also recommend you to put the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth, upper palate. This enables figure eight flow of prana in the body, right? This is yogic wisdom. So figure eight flow of prana in the body, right? So a tip touches the roof of the mouth like that, and then you close it, all right? And then you breathe for 4 seconds. You in-breath. You in-breath this for 4 seconds, hold 4 seconds, out-breath 4 seconds, and hold again, all right? Let's do it once. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? That's how you do it. So when do you do it? Right? So let's say you're angry, you're sad. I told you that according to neuroscience and the breath pattern, breathing is shallow when you're experiencing these kind of non-serving emotions. So what do? You know that you're angry, or you can do this before the arousal of anger. You know that this is going to trigger me. Somebody's going to humiliate you. Somebody's passing comments that you don't like, or somebody's making guilt tripping you. Somebody's, being passive aggressive with you. Somebody's trying to insult and humiliate you. You know that it's going to happen, right? We have that much intelligence to understand that somebody's trying to do this with us. Then that is going to happen. When you're anticipating that, when you're mindfully, being present in a situation, do this breathing and observe your breath. It would be shallow. And as you do this, it becomes deeper. It calms you because your vagus nerve, your parasympathetic nervous system is activated. P for peace, sympathetic for stress. Please remember this. That's how I learn everything, just remembering letters and connecting them, right? So when you do this breathing, you are calm, you're composed, right? So you cannot do this one day suddenly when you're angry, when you're aggressed. You have to train yourself. Practice, practice, and practice. Please understand, practice doesn't make you perfect. Practice makes you progress. You have to continuously commit to improving yourself and continuously improving your emotions and regulating your emotions. All right. It's a continuous practice, which helps you to progress. Even some days I don't remember this, even though I'm teaching this to you, because I'm being human. All right. Some days it doesn't strike me, and it's okay to be that. All right. I'm just a human. All right. So just train yourself and tell yourself that next time when somebody's complaining, gossiping, and it's triggering me and I feel like giving it back, I'm going to do this, right? That's how you train and rewire your brain to do certain things that you want. Second method is affirmations. My favorite method. This morning, I woke up at 3 a.m. I didn't sleep much. I was so excited for the session. I was like anxious a little bit. right? And then I told myself, I'm not the anxiety, I'm not the emotions, right? So these are the emotions, affirmations for emotional healing. I am emotionally regulated. I am emotionally strong. I am emotionally resilient. I am emotionally well balanced. I accept all my emotions as they are. I address and express my emotions. I allow and permit myself to feel all the emotions. I welcome all the emotions. I feel to heal. All the things I told you in the previous slides, they're all here as affirmations. I want you all to do the affirmations beginning with I am or I, right? That connects you with the divine. Also, when what you say after I am, you become that, right? I am emotionally regulated. If you want to say, I am an amazing speaker, you say, I am an amazing speaker. So, whatever you want to do, you say that. I am peaceful. I am calm. I am strong. I am wonderful. I am brilliant. All right. So, I am, and whatever you want to achieve, right? That's what you do after the I am. So, do these affirmations, do the boxed breathing, and I have some more solutions for you. Why give less when we can do more, right? Oops. Oh. Okay. So the third one is tapping on the primovascular systems. It's the EFT tapping. It's a very long process. I would ask you to go ahead and check Google. So many videos on Google and YouTube. You can do that. And my very favorite method, another method, is write and burn. Write everything that you're experiencing. As you write, you're using your physical body to write your mental thoughts, and when you write your mental thoughts using your physical body, the emotion starts uprising. You know, the upheaval, the emotional upheaval that you will experience as you start writing about the pain that you experience, the mental, the emotional, the physical, everything is in congruence now. You're writing your thoughts and you're experiencing the emotions, and you are using your hand. So there's a combination of body, mind, and emotions, right? Mental, thoughts, emotional from the emotion side, and physically you're using your hands. So physically, mentally, and emotionally, you're bringing that out in a piece of paper. So all the emotions are now transferred into the paper, and then you burn the paper. When you burn the paper, these emotions are burned. They're gone forever, right? Sometimes the emotions are very strong, right? We cannot forget and forgive certain things, and they're just too much. In case of those kind of emotions, you want to keep writing and keep burning. It's not enough if you do it one time, because it's so deep and so thick, right? And then the fifth method is the permission slip. Just take a piece of paper, and just like how you get permission slip from your school, your college, your university, write down, I allow to feel sadness. I permit myself to feel guilty. It's fine. You give yourself that permission, because nobody can give you that, right? Nobody can give you that permission. You have to give that to yourself, because you are the only one who's going to be with yourself all the time, right? I am here teaching you as a coach. I'm here teaching you how to do this and what are the ways of doing this. And as a coach, as somebody who wants your wellness, who wants you to be benefited with this session, I give you the permission. I allow you to feel everything that you are feeling, that you're going through. I allow you to do that. I allow you as a coach, as an energy medicine practitioner, I allow you to do that. I want you to allow yourself too. You and I, we can work together and we can do this. We can make it happen. All right. Take a piece of paper, write yourself the permission slip, and just feel it. This is Brené Brown's method. I really like it, and I always share this. You can take a post-it note and you can do that. The sixth method is the mindfulness and meditation. I love this. And I, being a meditation teacher, facilitator, I always ask people to be consistent with your meditation practice, your mindfulness, That's going to help you a lot in the long run, right? Constantly doing things, not just one day, constantly doing the meditation, the affirmations, the tapping or writing and burning, all these methods, you got to do it continuously. You cannot just like that, get anything. You have to work for it. This is a sacred work, right? You have to devote and dedicate time to this work because it's going to help you propel into newer heights. When you're emotionally stable, you're able to make wise, strategic, logical decisions, right? You want this for yourself, right? You want this. This is a very need. We need it. We need this emotional intelligence. Apart from our, intelligence quotient, we need the EQ. The EQ is emotional intelligence, EI or EQ. We need this quotient. We need more of this. Go out in nature. Walk barefoot. Just connect with yourself. Feel everything. And when you feel, that's when you heal, right? Allow yourself to bloom, to blossom. You have the power in you. And I want you all to connect with yourself, to feel the power that you have, to understand that you know the emotions that you're going through, the impermanence of it, the pause that you need to take before you react, being proactive in place of being reactive, addressing, expressing in place of repressing and suppressing unconsciously, right? We want this. And when that happens, you bloom like a beautiful lotus, right? The lotus is a flower which grows in a mud, in a dirty place, right? You can raise yourself like a lotus. You can get yourself out of the dirt. You can do that when you're aware of all the things. Now, all the things that you learned, you have it with you. This video is going to stay on the IIU's Facebook page. I'm going to share it on my page too. That's knowledge. You have the knowledge. The knowledge is superpower. I mean, knowledge is power, right? Knowledge is power. Wisdom is superpower. What's the difference between knowledge and wisdom? Knowledge is knowing it. Wisdom is practicing it, putting it into practice, practically using it. It's practical spirituality, right? You practice this continuously and then you get it. You go there. You reach your emotional intelligence, and it is a continuous process. It's not that you achieve it one day and you're done. You keep doing it continuously. You progress day by day, day after one day, 2 day, 3rd day, 4th day. You keep doing it and you reach your emotional resilience. You know how to balance your emotions. And there you are with your full potential, living your full potential, right? Keep practicing. Practice all the things that are said. And remember, knowledge is just knowing. And wisdom is practicing it, putting it into practical use. So put it into use and be the wise person that you are born to be, right? Be the wise owl. Yes? So that's about emotional intelligence. That's how I decode the emotions, the science and spirituality of it. I trust you all enjoyed this session. Thank you so much. If you want to find me, go to www.facebook.com/Sukhambhava. That's my page. I'm also on Instagram, Sukham_Bhava. You can reach out to me for any type of energy healing. I facilitate chakra healing, ancestral healing, emotional intelligence. I love teaching money EQ. I love that. Anytime you want to do that, please approach me. And I have a Facebook group. You can join the group. Make sure you answer the questions. Otherwise, I don't let you in. I only let people who are dedicated to their personal growth. Yes, your spiritual progress is at good hands when you choose us, right? So choose any of the coaches that are available. And if you want to find me, I told you where to find me. And go ahead and join the group. Check the page and ask me questions if you have any. Right. Thank you so much, IIU, for this opportunity. My dear friend, are you here?